So Season 5 is finally here. We got Last Stand with the launch of Season 5, and then here's obviously the playlist update. We won't go through all of that because obviously it updates and rotates throughout the week. So with the brand new season, we get a brand new battle pass, and then we have 2 free weapons. We got the EX1, which is an assault rifle at tier 15, and then we have the submachine gun at tier 31. Okay, so there's a brand new community event, whether you decide to be a hero or a villain. Obviously, we won't get too much into that. And then we got Operator's Last Call. This is a limited time mode. Inspired by Search and Destroy, you can choose to defend Caldera by defusing the bombs around the island or sabotage it by detonating it. I think a lot of people aren't the biggest fans of Caldera, so I think there's going to be a lot of people trying to destroy it. Witness 2 different outcomes depending on your performance. Fortune's Keep mode update. They updated the player count. They added 4 more teams, 2 more teams, 2 more teams, and 3 more teams, basically to put the player count right around 50, which is kind of what we asked for from day 1. Map update. We got Caldera map update, Volcanic Peak reworked POI. So you can kind of see the different, there's a lot going on there. And then you get the interior where it kind of cuts through with all the rocks and stuff like that. Pretty cool. They got a little piano in here. And then the windows you could see out from the, okay. They changed it a little bit. Task Force Tyrants, equipment POI. No self-respecting villain would operate without a lair. So they kind of copied a little bit of Fortnite on that one. Then we got the Boiler Room, which is a brand new gulag. It's kind of supposed to be like the gulag showers, where these are supposed to be those things that blocked it, and then you go clear, you got these little covers on each side, and then there's a thing in the middle. So it kind of goes there. Sunrise through, smoke, new weather, and lighting. Not sure if people are going to like it or not. And then we got Rebirth Island. We have a sunset, new weather, and lighting. Rebirth sees a new lighting change as well, featuring warm and lush sunset, casting a vibrant hue over the map. And then there's also going to be Rebirth After Dark. Rebirth Island will also receive a special limited time mode, Rebirth After Dark, on Friday, September 2nd through Sunday. So it's just something there, mix it up for a little bit of variety. Bug fixes, a few different bug fixes there that were causing some issues, some other known issues, gameplay. The Doomsday Stations are going to be in effect. And these are the things where you go land on them. They cost 10,000. Well, I guess you wouldn't land on them. You need to loot first. And then it causes AI to invade, the same way that we've seen in Fortune's Keep. Via the helicopter, reward a lootable by any player regardless of who activated the station. So if you see it, you can flood over there and maybe third party at the last second type of thing where they're dealing with the AI. 1 station will appear per match with multiple possible spawn locations and new cosmetic skin watch rewarded. Supply box UAV. This is kind of cool because it's a UAV that's going to tell you where loot is. And pretty much it's going to highlight the box. And then if you actually do 3 of these in the buy station in a short amount of time, it'll give you an advanced one, which will last a little bit longer. Just keep in mind that you want to go after the pink if you're basically looking for loadout. Red is those basic resurgence ones, and then orange would be the legendary. So you can get that money back, and we'll have to figure out how effective they are. You use it, and then you can see how much loot you can get from it in terms of speed, because then you can be really efficient just getting orange boxes rather than red when you're randomly looting. We also got a personal supply box, new supply box, all maps and modes. It's this unique supply box will spawn players' favorite loadout, which is this pink one right here. We also got Rage Serum, which is kind of like a brawler from Black Ops 4 or Blackout, depending on how you played that game. It's a field upgrade, so it means it only lasts a short period of time, 40 seconds. Positive effects, movement speed boost by a lot. Damage with melee weapons or while unarmed increased by 50%. That means basically you're going to be one-hitting or two-hitting people with pretty much everything. A lunge distance increased to 3.2 meters, so it's over double, almost triple there, about 2.5 times more. And then melee stun power. So basically when you hit somebody, it has that stun effect. And then negative effects include players have a louder presence, so you should hear them right away. Visible rage effect on the operator, so there should be some kind of glow on them. Stun and flash vulnerability increased by 40%. So if you do have stuns, you hit them with it, it's going to be more effective. And the effect will be countered by battle hardened perk. Quality of life. Precision airstrikes have now been improved. The danger UI, obviously we're late in the game's life cycle, but those are one of the most annoying things where you're like, I didn't get a notification, you get hit by it. So there's different fixes they did to that to make it a little bit more consistent. C4 now sits horizontally sideways so that you'll see it, it won't look like a perk. Gas mask auto manual equip setting has been added, so you'll be able to see that in the menu. Buy station updates. A new supply box UAV was added, obviously, and then the buy station inventory will now scroll in order to display all available options. Loadout markers remain at the bottom, the list for the ease of access. So if you just want to go boom, boom for muscle memory. Loadout crate UI selection in season. Okay, so they made it back to what it was before. At least now you're going to have the option to be able to set whatever you do in the pregame lobby. That'll be the one you could just spam X on, or you click, obviously in keyboard and mouse, they just hover over and click what they want, but you can set the setting, I believe. And then plane respawn functionality. They've planes no longer respawn once they have been destroyed in the battle royale modes that aren't respawn. This change does not apply to the respawn. So if you're in plunder, the planes will still come up. Perk update, Serpentine does get a little bit of a nerf. Players must now be tac sprinting for it to be effective, so that should be a huge difference. And then explosive damage and fire damage. So this should knock it pretty heavily, and it should be used the way it was initially designed and intended. And then battle hardened stun and flash resistance is increased to 80%, up from 50% and 70%. So that's just, they want more people to use battle hardened and stuns, and that's kind of how that goes. Weapons general. So we got Vanguard marksman rifles. Now have assault rifle ammunition, which is something we've been asking for forever. Variable zoom scopes have been adjusted. So these ones were nerfed, 3 to 6 and 4 to 8. Now they're going to have glint on them, reduced recoil control, which means it's not going to help us as much, and then adjusted ADS time. So they're going to be slower. So they're going to be a lot more in line with the Modern Warfare and Cold War, which kind of limits their viability, which means like at range, most of the stuff's not going to feel great. Which means if nothing feels great, that means you either are going to use whatever you're comfortable with, which is kind of a good spot, or there's going to be snipers that are kind of coming back into the fold. Aggressive and heavy snipers will see a large reduction. Snipers are in a good spot, but we're not done with them yet. Combined with the above, we're expecting many viable options and variables in long-range engagement. New weapon, the X1 prototype energy rifle, effective at long range and highly customizable, available at tier 15. Then we got this SMG, which is tier 31. The SMG has a high fire rate, which is usually good for SMGs, and a very mobile compact frame. It really just comes down to mag size at that point, right? Luckily for the patch notes, Warzone loadout already kind of made them super easy to read. We get the AS44, which pretty much gets nerfed all the way around. Cooper gets a nerf. Got KG gets a nerf, which kind of takes that potentially out of the meta. It's still very low recoil, so even the slightest changes won't ruin it. Then we got the STG, which makes it so that it gets a nerf and a buff. So it's kind of really hard there. That one was kind of creeping back into the meta. The UGM gets a stain recoil slightly adjusted, which does that mean it's improved or worsened? We'll have to wait until we get in game. More than likely, for how good it was, they probably nerfed it. Then the bar gets a slight buff by just increasing the mag size, which really isn't a buff at all. Grau gets a significant buff for the close range, but really won't impact the long range other than this neck damage multiplier. So if you get a couple neck shots in the mix, it will lower the TTK. And then we got the Groza, which min damage long range changes by 1, which this really won't impact this gun because it's really not a fun gun to use, at least not in my opinion. Vargo gets multiple buffs to improve ADS speed, mainly around solving that big issue that it had. And then we get the Vargo S, which actually got buffs for its damage range for min damage in terms of damage. So now they've solved a lot of the issue. It kind of finds a spot where it's worth trying and worth using because its TTK wasn't great, but now it could potentially be there with this 22 damage over the 20. Type 11 also gets a buff on multiple different areas. So that could be one where people will want to experiment with and try. Armaguerra gets several nerfs to different attachments. So overall, it probably won't be worth using, at least in my opinion, or it could have kind of brought itself in line where it's going to be even with a lot of things. So it's really just use whatever you have fun with. Same thing with the Marco and the Blixen. They're kind of focusing damage shot multipliers, but overall, a lot of damage nerfs as well as recoil nerfs. Combat shotgun, they changed the shot placement because this thing was kind of gross and it was too consistent at getting 2-shot kills, especially within its first damage range of about 8.5 meters. Then we got the UGR as an SMG, gets a buff. This is more the SMGs and shotguns. And this one just increases the mag size, which should allow it to compete a little bit better, even though, you know, it is kind of what it is. And then we got the Fennec, which gets a slight damage buff as well, even though that one wasn't really necessary. It killed super fast. It just needed bigger mag. Tommy gun gets a buff pretty much all the way around. I think it's still kind of slow, which is kind of one of the big drawbacks, at least for me. And then PPSH gets a slight buff to improve it as well. And then P90, it's a mid and close range or long range. Mid and long range get slightly improved, and then the striker got an improvement as well. In terms of the snipers and tactical rifles, the 3-line rifle get a little bit of nerf. And then Tundra Type 99, all snipers get improved by flinch. Marksman rifles now use rifle ammo and improved flinch. So I think the snipers might be back, right? The snipers might be back. SVT, M1 Grand, G43, M1916, all these got improved in different various ways. Some drawbacks as well, but in general, it's mostly improved. And now that they can use rifle ammo, you can actually use them without feeling like you're at a huge disadvantage, that you can only reload once and that's it. Crossbow got a slight buff, which really wasn't necessary since most people are using the explosive arrows anyway. These are a lot of changes. Obviously, I'm out of town, but when I get back on Saturday, I should have tons of content related to the weapons, the meta, and all that stuff. So make sure you're liking the video, subscribing, and we'll see you on the next one. Thank you for watching as always. Have a great day.